In this video, we will discuss how to set up your very first ASP.NET MVC web application. In this video, I'll be using Visual Studio 2013 Ultimate Edition. I'd recommend going and downloading this from the university website using the university license. There's also a 2013 Community Edition that was recently made available. Both of these should work in this case, but I will be utilizing Visual Studio 2013 Ultimate for all of these video lectures. So once you launch Visual Studio, you'll be brought up to a start page. On this start page, you will have different pieces of information available to you. We have the ability to start and open new projects. We have a list of recently opened projects. There's a series of different news feeds that Microsoft provide to you, and those are honestly very good resources, especially these product videos. They update these regularly and provide you with just little short 5-minute videos that kind of walk you through concepts of how to do things, and also introduce you to newer technology. So I'd recommend, if you have time and are curious, I'd check out some of these videos. So for this course, what we're going to do is we're going to start a new project. And when you click New Project, you're brought into the New Project dialog box. Now, my instance of Visual Studio has been pre-configured for C# priority, so my templates default to Visual C#, but you'll also notice that there's other languages, and under here we have things such as Visual Basic, Visual C++, SQL Server, F#, Python, and TypeScript. I've seen in some cases where people have misconfigured Visual Studio upon first launch, and it will actually launch with a default of Visual Basic. So be sure that Visual C# is your default when you're following these steps. I'll include a short video of how to change that default, and I'll include it in the course as well. So under Visual C#, we're going to look for Web. And if you click on Web, you'll have probably one option. It's a ASP.NET web application. In some people who may be using Visual Studio 2012, you'll see something that looks more like this, where you have an ASP.NET empty web app. Then you'll probably see more web form options, MVC4 applications, dynamic data entities. You'll see a whole collection or list of different project types. For this course, if you're using Visual Studio 2012, you'll want to choose ASP.NET MVC4 web application. If you're following along using Visual Studio 2013, you'll simply want to choose Web Application. Now, just as you did in your contemporary programming course, you'll want to change the name of this to be something relevant. So I'm going to call this the Week 2 project. And you want to take note of where those documents or those projects are being saved. For me, it's under my users, Kevin, documents, Visual Studio 2013 projects. So this is the path to get to this project and solution later. Go ahead and hit Add. Now with Visual Studio 2013, all ASP.NET projects are kind of coupled together, or I should say the functionality is broken into units and then they couple those components together. So what I'm going to choose for now is I'm going to choose an empty project, and I want to have the core references for MVC, since this is an MVC application. Other options would include clicking MVC, and when you choose an MVC, it'll default this checkbox and make it static and you can't change it. It'll also set up your authentication method for individual user accounts. We'll cover this authentication in later detail, but by choosing empty, you'll notice that there is no authentication, so no authentication framework is preloaded. We'll check the MVC box and we'll move on our way. Using Visual Studio 2012, you'll probably get a similar dialog box that'll ask you if you want an empty project, a basic project, an internet project, and there's a few other ones. You'll also want to choose empty. So Visual Studio will create our project workspace. And you'll probably come up with a screen something like this where it looks fairly blank. You may have your Solution Explorer already open. If you don't, they're typically mounted on the right-hand side of the page or the screen. So you'll just want to expand that and then check the TAC to lock it open. So we now have our ASP.NET MVC empty project configured and ready to go.